Hello everyone, this is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full-time. I've been doing this with my fiance Aneta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'm about to go into what we were shipping out on Monday. So this is all the stuff over the weekend, or like the back half of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's a lot of stuff. We have a lot of packing to do. So I'm just going to jump right into it. So the first thing right here is going to be a bunch of Warhammer 40K and vintage fantasy battle bits and pieces. I got this huge box for like $100. I made over like 150 listings. I did it a couple weeks ago. So another one of these packs sold for $16.79 plus shipping. Everything's gonna be plus shipping. All right, next up is these Even Tides purple RPG dice here for some kind of RPG called Even Tides right there. I got one D6 and then a D12, and it has like a moon for the 6 and then a moon for the 12. People like to get the special dice for the particular RPG sets, and then people like to collect dice in general. So yeah, this ended up going to a repeat buyer for $7.22. It was called Even Tides. I don't know if I said that right. All right, next up is going to be 1776. The Birth of a Nation. This is going to be a board game. This one's going to be complete. This is not one of the bookcase ones, but it is kind of similar. It says a dynamic bookshelf game. This is just going to have a bunch of, it's like a classic board right here where you have your pawns, and then you're probably going to be flipping over cards. Sorry, you roll your dice and flip over the cards. I haven't played this one, but yeah, get a bunch of these like vintage board games. This one ended up going for $14. Pretty good for the holidays. A lot of people have more time to play with their family or for gatherings, as well as it's like cold outside, so they have more time to play stuff like that. All right, next up is going to be a combo order. They paid 4 separate times or 3 separate times. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 separate times. So I don't know the total. I want to say it's probably around $34, $35 plus shipping. First up is they got a bunch of RPG books. So this one is Ars Magica right here. This is by White Wolf right here. Just like a little simple booklet. This is like one of those cases where RPG players like to read a bunch of RPGs. They'll get little samples. They really love collecting them as well. They don't have to play them. I mean, they want to, but if they don't have enough time, they still like to enjoy to collect them and read them. This person also got the Living Campaign, a guide for creating and maintaining the tabletop RPG campaign. So they need some help just like going through it. So there's books on RPG books. I actually have one myself. I read one like a couple, 4 years ago at this point. All right, next up is going to be RuneQuest role-playing in Gloranthia. There you go. I think that's right. This is a quick start rules and adventure. So the quick start rules are like, it's just a, really quick for the rules. You have a little adventure. If you like it, you can go search out more from this game. And then if not, it's probably not your thing. All right. And then this was a lot of, I think it's like 8 free RPG Day books from 2021. So these are all samples. Victoriana, Going Underground. So some kind of steampunk one. This one has really cool art. Twilight Imperium, Ashes of Power. This is going to be based off of the board game. People love the lore. There's like every single race you play in that game. If you flip over the player board, it will have like a whole history of the character within the world, within how they interact with other races. So people like the lore. Zombicide Chronicles right here. Zombie game right there by Cool Miniatures or not. They also have an RPG. People love this game. They love the characters that you get to play, so they want to play them in an RPG. Then we have Soulbound, Reap and Sow, Warhammer, Age of Sigmar. I didn't actually realize this was a Warhammer Age of Sigmar until I saw that thing in the top. So that's people like Warhammer for the lore as well and playing the game. And then this is Essence 2. Says it's fully compatible with Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, and Transformers, which is by Renegade Game Studios. So yeah, just an adventure for that one. Then we have Root, the role-playing game, which is normally a board game where you're fighting over territory in a forest. There's a bunch of different factions and critters that you can play throughout the game. So they actually made an RPG because people love this kind of like art style right here. I think it's a pretty good art style. It's not like my favorite, but it's a pretty good one. And then we have this Blue Rose, has a wolf on the front. No idea about this one, but I like this kind of art style with the nature, the greens, and then the wolfy right there, and then the runes. Then we got Pathfinder Threshold of Knowledge. So yeah, this is going to be Pathfinder 2nd edition. Just a quick little adventure right there. So they got all these RPG books for about like $40. I had more of the free RPG Day stuff from 2021, so I relisted my set of 8 that I had up. All right, next up is going to be a Matchbox Chevrolet Blazer. Got a bunch of these cars. Most of them were like police diecast cars from a storage unit flipper. Oh yeah, this one's also has like a little sheriff and a bear on there. This ended up going for $6.82. All right. Yeah, people like to collect all sorts of the little cars in the packages. Normally, I have them outside the packages, and sometimes I'll make lots. All right. Next up is Revell. That's like the miniature company. These are going to be like Napoleonic soldiers. These are going to be like a bigger size. They're kind of like army men. They're cavalry. There's 3 of them. So there's the 3 horses and then the 3 figures on top. I had a bunch of these. So I made like 8 or so different listings. I just label them like A all the way through F or whatever in a baggie. $15.39 for just the 3. These are cool display pieces. Maybe someone could paint them up as well. All right, next up is going to be a video game. I think we sold something similar to this, Total Rome. Never played this one, but this is going to be, I think, an RTS, so someone's going to go ahead and join that one. It's the complete edition, so it has like the extra expansions that you get with this. This ended up going for $11.34. All right, moving along, speaking of Twilight Imperium, someone picked up a bunch of bits and pieces. It's like over 100 of them. This one is going to be Prophecy of Kings. I believe this is 4th edition. So there's four editions, and Prophecy of Kings is expansion. This is going to be a bunch of the tiles for the actual universe, like the different planets, and then there's a ton of different cards. So this is not like the complete game. This is just a bunch of stuff to it. So maybe someone just wants to add, you can probably it's probably modular and you can add some of this stuff. I only played the base game, so I'm not too sure what the Prophecy of Kings adds, but I know it's like it's still like an expensive expansion, and people like the universe and the board game. I didn't like the board game too much because it's like a slow-paced board game for sci-fi. I like this one called Eclipse, where it's a little bit more snappy, but I understand why people like Twilight Imperium. That one sold for $34.99 just for like the bits and pieces. All right, next up, this thing's super cool. It's like it's called by Viking Models. I don't know, they have this right here, just like a little paper thing on it. So I don't know how like custom this is, but it's going to be an SSN-21 Sea Wolf underway like little display. It's like a submarine, and then it has like this whole like kit thing. So it's just like a small little, or small, it's a big kit to make. $30 for this one. We do pretty well with the like tanks, submarines, jets, fighter stuff. People like to build them, paint them, display them. That one went for 30 bucks. All right. Next up, I got a bunch of, or I think I got a bunch of ornaments a bit ago at like an estate sale. This one happened to be like a special one. It's like a wax head angel ornament. So kind of like a cool vintage one. This ended up going for $15. There was someone that was originally looking for a bigger size one of these, and then we sent an offer and they were like, no, sorry, I want a bigger size one. But someone ended up picking it up for maybe their tree or something like that, or as a gift. It's a really cool one. It has like the vintage, not vintage, it has the wax head. All right, next up is going to be Cartoon Network, Mad TV, I think like some kind of crossover. Disturbingly Awful Mad magazine right here. So it has a bunch of Cartoon Network stuff. I remember watching a bunch of that as a kid, so people like that, and people also like the Mad magazine. I think, Annetta, did you watch or read the Mad magazine or no? I never got into like, you watch Mad TV. Okay, I never got into the magazine, but I know a lot of people like it. So yeah, this ended up going for $8.40. All right, moving along. I'm running out of space here. We got a First Chicago, the First National Bank little keychain right here. Don't know too much about like why someone picked this up right now, but we always get like keychains or tchotchkes. It's okay. Just dropped like a, no, it's nothing too bad. She's fine. So yeah, we get a bunch of branded stuff, and people pick it up if they like the brand, they like the keychain, they'll use it, they'll collect it. People collect all sorts of stuff. $11.19 for just this one. That's like kind of like one of the favorite things to sell, like cool little tchotchkes like that. It's like, oh cool, someone's appreciating it. Normally that stuff eventually gets thrown out in some way, shape, or form, and then we usually save it from the trash, or someone's like, oh, I'm gonna throw out a bunch of stuff, and we'll cherry pick things that I think people will be interested in. All right, next up, Scotch Legends playing card deck. You know, I search out for the specific unique playing card decks. It's something that I collect. I have like 30 or so different decks, and then I know people like to collect them and use them for playing card games. But yeah, really cool thing where it has just like a bunch of different little lore and art on them. Yeah, I got this a long time ago, $15.40. Long time ago means like probably a couple years. All right, next up is going to be this. This is actually an old listing. This is probably one of the first things we listed when we moved into here. Just knowing what bin it was in, I hadn't gone to that bin in a while, so it's kind of a pain to get to in the storage unit. It's kind of like in the worst corner where I had to move other stuff to get to it. But this is kind of like a ceramic kitten sleeping. It has like a little you know, the base on the bottom here, like not rubber, but basically so it doesn't slip off too easily. But yeah, $6.17. Probably not something that we would grab now, but it is stuff we've dealt with before. All right, moving along, we have a set of 11 Mythos. Is it Mythos? I think it's Mythos. Yeah, collectible card game. This is the full set of the, I think like the first set. These are investigator cards. So this is a collectible card game where you play an investigator and there's different types or ways to win. It's not just combat. So it's like kind of like Cthulhu-ish, where you have like, you know, the insanity and other intrigue and mystery and stuff. So yeah, these characters come, they can fold, and then they're double-sided. So these are unfolded, or they don't have like, I haven't folded the crease. So I had another set of these. I relisted it. This is going international. And I noticed that in the past year or two, since I got the Mythos stuff, I do remember like a decent amount has gone international. And Vampire: The Eternal Struggle card game. So this one ended up going for $22.39. All right, moving along, we have a strategy guide book. I actually got like a refresh of about like 40 or so about last month. I don't know if this is, yeah, I actually think this was part of the refresh, where the person who has strategy guide books for me eventually did have some, and I picked them up. So yeah, Red Faction, never played this game, but people like to go through these. They like to collect them. They'll complete it with the game, with the case, or maybe they just want to read it. It tells you how to play the game and all the secrets. Just fun, old school stuff. $7.83. So like nothing too crazy. Once in a while, like I'll get a good strategy guide book. All right. Next up, I thought this was a combo order. I guess not. This is going to be Kira Wolf. This is going to be a Mech Warrior by WizKids. This is going to be an older HeroClix style game where you have the little click on the bottom, and then you have the mechs, you'll have the tanks, you'll have the bikes, you'll have the infantry. This is going to be, I believe, a unique figure, so kind of like a rare. This ended up going for $13.99, and then on here there's like a wolf with like a little bar behind it. That's the Steel Wolves in this game. I believe you have to play within the same faction, and then they'll have like a point value, which tells you how many points. This one, it looks like it's going to be 114 points. So if you play like a 500-point game, that's going to take up a big chunk of your thing points. And then later on, I have another Mech Warrior, but not, I go in order, so not up yet. But we have 52 playing cards, lots of love. This is going to be heart-shaped ones, like I told you, like the other playing cards, wherever they are over there. People like to pick up specific ones. This is probably like a cute little gift from one person to another. This ended up going for $6. Nothing crazy. I do like the weird shape sometimes. Not always, but if it pops out to me, I'll be like, I think someone will like heart-shaped playing cards. Seems like an interesting concept. All right, next up is going to be White Dwarf. We got a bunch of these magazines a long time ago. I think it was at a like Savers or something, and ended up getting a bunch of them for like 75 cents a piece. Got like 300 or 200 or something. Like got a bunch of them. And then they've been slowly selling since. The White Dwarf is the Warhammer magazines. These are like the newer ones. I believe the older ones go for a lot more. Can't remember if we've ever gotten the older ones. So yeah, issue 451. There's 459, 464, 470. It will have like people's different battles, like their skirmish things you can read, paint jobs, new stuff coming out for the time. Sometimes they'll have decals, which you can put on the miniatures. I don't think any of these have the decals, but this ended up going for $15.88. All right, moving along, we have a pirate with a sword, unbranded kind of miniature, so that's what I put in the listing. And then I put like RPG miniature. It's a good quality one. Literally, it has a good like pirate hat. It looks like fun to prime and then paint, and then someone can use it for an RPG. It has the swashbuckler. Oh, food's ready. Give me a second. All right. Next up is going to be Peter Pig. It's like these type of miniatures. There's a bunch of different packs right here. This is like range 8, pack 61. This is, I think, LMG troops right here. They're 15 millimeters. I find these occasionally. These end up going for $6.99. They're like little military ones. All right. Next up is going to be like a rare limited edition Pepsi stuffed animal bear right here. Been doing pretty well with the plushies and stuffed animals. Maybe they're just like good gifts right now for the holidays. We'll see if it continues past the holidays. But yeah, has a cool old school little Pepsi shirt on. This ended up going for $11.20. All right. Next up is going to be, this thing had so many watchers on both eBay and Mercari. It was bothering the neta. I think we had like 25 watchers. Highest watched item we have. I normally don't really care about watchers. It's not something that I normally pay attention to, except for in this particular case, because there's just a ton of watchers. We've sent offers on this so many times. This is going to be Epoch Sylvanian. critters, like those little like soft critters. They sell pretty well for us, like the little ones. This is a dollhouse. We have a bunch of like a little accessories in there that I can look through. I'm like a creepy giant looking through in there. It's just a bunch of like the chairs and stuff like that. So we have this. We've had it for a long time. We got it from a garage sale. We got a bunch of other like dolls. It was kind of like our first foray into dolls. Sold a bunch of them. So, and got like a little critters and a bunch of other like toys and stuff. So this is also like a roof or a part to it. But yeah, this finally sold for $42. But yeah, crazy number of watchers on this item. Never had that many. And also randomly, Annetta does the Mercari. She said there was like 30, 40, or 70 or something. So I don't know why. I was just always curious why there's a lot of watchers on that. All right. Next up is going to be the Pokemon TCG. This is going to be none of like the cards, but this is going to be like one of the little booklets. This gave me some nostalgia when I was pulling it because I collected Pokemon as a kid. I was growing up and then it came out. Where is it? Oh, I was grabbing the wrong thing. I guess it's not even near me. Where is it? Losing track of it. Losing track of everything. It's all the way on the bottom. All right, right here. Made simple. They would have these little books with the checklist and would show like what price the card is. They didn't have TCG Player. So yeah, the people would grab these books to see all the different little like articles. This was when it was made by Wizards of the Coast. So really cool, like nostalgic book. $5.24. It wasn't like too expensive, but people like to collect all sorts of Pokemon stuff, especially the vintage stuff. Can be expensive, but people still pick it up even if it's not expensive. People still like it, so it doesn't have to be expensive in order for someone to like it. All right, next up is going to be a mug. Got a bunch of mugs a long time ago. This one is going to be Bugs Bunny. Did really well with mugs in 2020, 2021. Never sold for like crazy amounts. It was always like $8 to like 20. I'd be pretty happy to get to $20, $25 range. But yeah, this is a cool Looney Tunes one. Someone once told me, they said that I have teeth like Bugs Bunny. So I was like, I'll take it. And then when I was telling another that story like a couple days ago, she's like, no, you don't have teeth like Bugs Bunny. She's like, you're like Elmer Fudd. I'm like, Elmer Fudd? Thanks. All right, $4.51 for this right here. I do feel like I'm like Bugs Bunny, always a trickster. All right, next up is going to be this Mech Warrior, which I thought was going to be a combo order with the other one, but it was not. This is a Just 2 missile carrier. Remember how there's the mechs and then there's tanks. This is also by the Steel Wolf faction, so that's why I thought this was a combo order, but looking at it now, it was not. This is just going to be like an individual figure. I did lots of these as well as I did individuals. So I just kind of wanted to see how they would work out. I would get more if they sold individually, but I feel like people pick up lots because they want to like get little bunches of figures to choose for an army. So $10.49 for this individual one, which is pretty cool because I'll do like 25, 35, or $45 for like a lot of 20 to 30, depending on whatever I find at the time, whatever the collection has. All right. Moving along, we have Smiling Jack. This is going to be Geode, which is now Vampire the Eternal Struggle game. I was talking about how I sent these cards normally overseas. This one's not going overseas. This is going to be rare, a rare card. I'll list the rares separately, and then I'll do the commons and uncommons as lots, and then just see how they do. This end up going for $4.89. All right, next up is going to be a pack of 68s, or just like a random splattering of 78s, not 68, 78 Blood Bowl cards. There's like scenario cards and characters. I haven't played Blood Bowl, but it's going to be Warhammer's sport game, and a lot of people like it. There's a lot of different editions, so I like to display all the different cards and stuff for when people are purchasing lots from me. Same with the miniatures. Like when I sold the vintage bits and pieces, I'll actually lay them all out so people can like treasure hunt. So people like that when they come to the shop. But yeah, this ended up going for $20.99. So there must have been some good cards for the person looking out for them. All right, next up is going to be a Ravensburger puzzle right here. This is going to be our generation. So the doll stuff's been doing pretty well for us. I know this is a puzzle. My nieces are also into getting plushies and dolls this year, as well as we sold the doll house. We've been selling a bunch of plushies. We got the Pepsi bear and a bunch of other plushies in the past few weeks. But yeah, Ravensburger, they also do board games. They also do really good puzzles. They have good components, or it's cardboard puzzle pieces. I like their quality. And then they also have Lorcana, the card game now. So I think they're overall really solid board game company, or just company in general. $8.22. People like to grab puzzles during the holidays. I like them as well. All right, Next up is going to be Dungeons and Dragons Kingdoms of Kalimar. This is going to be like a vintage poster map. It's a very vivid colors. You can see like the blue right there. Maybe you can see it. I don't want to fold it all the way out because it's like barely been unfolded. Kind of did it just for the listing. But people like to collect the old vintage Dungeons and Dragons stuff. They like to frame it. Sometimes they just like to have all of the different images and the books, and they like to read it. All right, move along. We have Catacombs. This is going to be Elzra board game. This is without the box. This is going to be one of those social deduction games like Avalon, like Resistance, like Werewolf, where everyone will get a roll either by a card that's handed out to you, or sometimes you'll have these little pieces like meeples, wooden components, and then it'll let you know what your role is. For like Werewolf, the werewolves are trying to eat everyone, and then the villagers are trying to hang the werewolves. So there's always like some type of game. Most of the game is just verbally talking with everyone around the table. That's the social deduction part. You're trying to deduce who is playing what role. This ended up going for $14. And then once someone finds a game like the werewolf or something, they start exploring what other board games are out there that have the same type of mechanics. A lot of board gamers do that. I do that as well. It'll be like, oh, I didn't know that there was this re-roll mechanic or something, and I'll go find all the different games. For us, it was flipping rights or rolling rights, variations of Yahtzee. All right, next up is going to be Pandemic on the Brink. This is missing 3 pieces, not a big deal. It's like going to be like some of the pawns that are easily replaceable. I've played the base game. I have not played On the Brink. I've played Legacy Season 1, 2, and Season 0. Season 0 is our favorite, and I also loved it a lot. Those were going to be Legacy ones where you play a campaign of it. But this one I think is the most popular for most people, I think, because there gets to be someone that gets to play like a saboteur or a traitor where they're helping the virus. It also has a bunch of different, I think, other module stuff you can add into the game, like more of these help event cards and different characters and whatever this extra purple virus is. So mutations, I think. All right, this ended up going for $13.99. People love the Pandemic series. It's like a classic board game, kind of vintage at this point. All right, next up is going to be this. I keep selling it, so I raised it by a couple of dollars after I relisted the one at the storage unit. This is going to be Albert Wesker foil promo card for the Resident Evil deck building game. It's just like an additional villain you can play. There's like 3 different promo cards for this particular game. I have one of them. So yeah, I raised it up by a couple of dollars because it keeps selling. So my ceiling's still pretty high, but I'll still take offers. So this one sold for $10. People like to get all the extra stuff for their board games. I like to as well. If it's too expensive, I'll keep an eye out for when it's a good, like a promo or expansion's a good price. All right, next up, we sold another ceramic duck right here. It looks like it's probably like a better garden one or one outside. He's like really round and chubby. We used to grab stuff like this. We don't really grab ceramics like this anymore, but this ended up selling for $6.50. Like I said, nothing too fancy. All right, moving along. This right here, I got it from my friend who sells us like the manga anime stuff. This one was pretty good. This is going to be 2 Nendoroids. So Nendoroids are, I think, pop figures, but instead of like, they're kind of like higher quality, they're from Japan. And they have a bunch of these accessories, different pieces that you can like swap arms. You can kind of swap everything, that hats, helmets, shirt, not shirts, heads right there. They have extra stuff like, like chat bubbles that go above their head. So yeah, these 2 characters, you probably can't see them. I have them stored in here in a weird way. But this is going to be, let me see. I have to actually look at it before I read it. I might say it wrong. Papuko and Papimi. There you go. Don't know which manga or anime characters those are. Probably popular ones because this sold for $126. People really do like to collect the Nendoroid stuff, and because they're from Japan, so easier to get there than here. My buddy will get stuff from Japan sometimes. He'll just pay for the fees and stuff like that. All right. Next up is going to be a lot of 4 Ultra Pro deck boxes. These are going to be the 60 to 80 count deck boxes. They're cheap plastic ones. They're not 100, which is important because 100 will be for Magic the Gathering Commander players, which is kind of probably the most common deck that's put in a deck box these days. But yeah, these are cheap enough where I can't list them individually. So I'll put them together. I'll make a little color array. This one's yellow, clear. It's like a blue, navy, and then like the white. I thought it looked okay. I'll save these deck boxes sometimes these just come in like board games. Someone will have their board games deck boxed or other collections, and then I'll keep them to the side. When I get enough, I'll make a little lot. These end up going for $10, so $2.50 a piece. That's about what I would imagine for them each selling for. All right, and then last up is going to be the extra, right over here, Dark Horse Extra Comics. These are going to be the ones from 2001. There's issues 39, 40, and 41. I don't want to like unfold them because they're pretty much brand new. I had more of each of these, so I already relisted them after they sold. So yeah, people have been giving us good feedback, like actual positive feedback, saying that they were glad, like they were happy for the condition that they were in, because they are basically new. They just don't have like a wrap around them. And then these have been like useful for people completing their collections. I don't know too much about comics, so I don't know the special part about these Dark Horse Extra comics, these big giant newspapers. It does say like it's for kids, so maybe it's nostalgic for people. But I mean, they also have like a little comic on the front and the back, and then they have like cool advertisements, like vintage ones. All right, that is everything. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to help support us, take a look at our links down below. Hope everyone had a good weekend.